Good morning. One of the great things about the Torah is that Hashem has the ability to convey a great deal of nuance and subtlety through an absolute economy of language. And sometimes we're privileged to see some of the depth that Hashem's putting in. See, in general, one of the differences between a text and between, say, a movie is that in a movie, you're able to see how somebody feels, what they really mean, if they're being insincere, without being told, but through their body language and the nuances and the tonality and so on. Whereas in a text, it's much more difficult. Either you have to narrate what's going on, you have to say, "Oh, really?" he said sarcastically. Or through a choice of language, you have to make it self-evident that the careful, discerning reader will actually pick up what they mean, what they really mean by the words. And this is especially necessary, especially difficult, when you are dealing with situations where perhaps the protagonists themselves are unaware of their true motivations. And what you want to communicate is that they think they're doing this for one reason, but they're really doing it for another reason. Now, as I said, in movies, sometimes you can do it because we are generally very expressive and we're talking to somebody face to face, you can do that. But how can you do that in a book that is using, as I said, the fewest possible words? Hashem's very, very clever, and that's exactly what he does. When we talk about Lot separating from Avraham, what's happened is the two of them have been living together for quite a while. Lot joined Avraham's family, but he's behaving unethically with the neighbors around them, and Avraham's not happy. And Avram says, it's time for us to go our separate ways. I'm staying, you go, pick your place, I will take care of you and keep an eye on you. So the Torah tells us, V'yisa Lot et einav v'yaretz kol kikar hayarden. Lot lifted up his eyes and he saw the whole plain of the Jordan. Ki chulo mashkeh was all irrigated, lots of rivers. Livnei shachet Hashem et Sdom ve'et Amorah. And this was before Hashem had destroyed the cities of Sdom and Amorah. Obviously, after that, it was no longer such a wonderful, desirable area. Kegan Hashem ke'eretz Mitzrayim. This area, just by the Jordan River, that plain, was like the garden of Hashem, like the land of Egypt, Boach HaTzar, all the way up to Tzar. And Lot chose that Jordan plain. And Lot went east, and the two men separated from one another. So if you would ask me, based on the reading of the text, why did Lot move there? I would say to you, it's simple, financial reasons. He saw what a wonderful fertile area it was, whether he wanted pasture for grazing, or whether he wanted to go into the kind of farming with trees and vegetables and all of that kind of thing. It's all there. He moved there for those reasons. But as I said, sometimes there's more going on. And if I was saying to you, for example, somebody asked me, "Oh, why did so and so change jobs?" So I say to you, personal reasons. There's nothing you can see from my tone of voice or my facial expression. I'm just saying personal reasons. When I do that, I'm saying it's not personal reasons, it's money. So the same thing with Lot. What if that wasn't the real reason that Lot went? What if Lot said that was the reason? What if Lot thought that was the reason? But what if there's another reason? What reason could there be? Well, we know that the people of Sodom were not good people. Is there something attractive about not goodness? Absolutely. Rules and boundaries and things that you have to do and authority holds you back. Can't do whatever you want. Maybe there were some, very pretty girls in Sodom. Maybe Lot saw that this was a chance for him to have a different kind of life than the one under Avraham's watchful eye. And that's exactly what our sages say. In the Gemara in Horiot on page 10b, Rashi quotes this briefly, alludes to it in his commentary. He says, Lot's real motivation was for promiscuity. Lot's real motivation was, he felt having Avram around, he couldn't have girls over to the house all the time. And so if he went to Sodom, then he would. Now, how do you see that in the words? As I said, I don't think Lot himself knew this. But what Hashem did was he chose words that have analogs in other places in Tanakh, and every time those other phrases are mentioned, at least sometimes when those other phrases are mentioned, they have that context of promiscuity, of sexual license. And that's, for example, Lot lifted up his eyes. V'yisa et einav. Now, if you're familiar with Tanakh, where else does somebody lift up their eyes? He says, that's Potiphar's wife. Joseph's working in Potiphar's house. Potiphar's wife lifts up her eyes and sees Joseph. It's lifting up the eyes is looking at something that isn't really yours, or that you're not really looking at something with that kind of acquisitive, lascivious gaze. Vayar Kigar Yarden, and he saw the plain of the Jordan. So this is an allusion, Rabbi Yochanan says, to Samson. Samson sees Delilah, he's enamored with her, and even though it was a disastrous choice, she was a beautiful woman, he was attracted to her. That's the same kind of language that's being used over here. Kikar HaYarden, the plain of the Jordan. There are a number of words that are used in the Torah to indicate a plain. Kikar is an unusual one. Kikar also means a loaf of bread. And Kikar, the Gemara says, is used in other places as a reference to prostitution. And the Gemara goes on to say that, and it's amazing that without using explicit hints, and I think that's also part of the message. Without giving the explicit message, Hashem is saying, if you want to just read the words are saying, Lot went there for financial reasons. But if you think about the words that Hashem chose and the analogs, and you should say to yourself as you read, where does this phrase ring a bell? Where have I seen this before? That's how Hashem writes the Torah. It's all interconnected. Where have I seen this before? Oh, I remember that was about Potiphar's wife and Joseph. Oh, that was about Samson and Delilah. Oh, that was about the woman of ill repute. And so on. You start to see the theme emerge. And you start to see that actually, why was it that Lot was going? Maybe Lot didn't know. But Hashem knows. And we all know. That was the real reason he was going. The Kotzker Rebbe said, what is a chassid? What is a person who wants to be holy? Somebody who always asks himself, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Lot didn't ask himself that question. And perhaps if he had, I hope he would have had the honesty to acknowledge it and then perhaps make a different choice. Shabbat Shalom.